All right, my name is John Lee. I'm a teaching artist. I live in Flatbush, Brooklyn.
My name is JB. I live in Brooklyn, currently Brownsville, Brooklyn. I work for sanitation, Department of Sanitation. That's it.
Marina Heinze. I live in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and I'm an artist and a tattoo artist.
My name is Wallace. I'm from Queens, New York. I'm in construction management.
Gentrification to me basically means, like, after even hearing that history, is there are a lot of Jewish landlords or whoever profiting from black folks, but it's like, it's cool to profit from black folks until we get taken out of our communities that we've built. You know, like a lot of us are immigrants and a lot of us come from different countries and we form these communities in wherever we're staying, be it Brownsville, be it East New York, be it Flatbush, where I'm from. And it's like, there's a lot of Caribbean folks, right? So there are generations and generations of like people living there, right? So then the market value goes up, the property goes up, and then it's like you're forced to leave because you can no longer afford to live in these places where you resided for 20
people. But let's get something straight. It's not only white people who's benefiting off gentrification. I know a couple of black building owners too. Yeah. And when you own property, I know people who own property. I have family who own property. You know, my family owns property. You need to pay that rent. That mortgage need to be paid. You will get whoever you need to get in there to pay that mortgage. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I just want to say, like, it's not just only white people just benefiting off of gentrification. There's plenty of black folks, Indian, Caribbean, Asians benefit off of it too.
On Flatbush, right? I mean, I heard and I did my research where I live. It's like Prospect Lefferts Gardens has been the name of it, right? So we take these neighborhoods, right? So take that away. We even have Ocean Hill by Broadway Junction. Like, they're changing like these names to like suit the market. But it's like, I'm not seeing many black folk moving into these neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yes, everyone can benefit from it, but it's like, all right, cool. So take my neighborhood, for example. We have Prospect Lefferts Gardens, which I'm not gonna call it that. I live on Flatbush, straight up. Mm-hmm. Like, so we have Arrow's Bakery, we have like Caribbean bakeries, whatever, you name it, right? So with gentrification comes the organic stores or whatever, which is cool. I'm not against that, right? But then there's some people who live in that neighborhood who cannot afford to go there. And what happens to them?
They get pushed out.
To where? Where are they going?
They going to my hood because I'm finding dog shit on my fucking sidewalk. They come to my hood.
All information is free. You understand what I'm saying? If you take the time out to sit back and say and look at and see what's going on in your neighborhood and really say, you know what, things is changing. Yo, let me keep up with the times. Like you said, it's not just white and black people. Everyone is benefiting.
Yes,
but if you economics, if you sit down and go do the proper knowledge, you can do it. Like right now, from Broadway Junction down to maybe Saratoga, Eastern Parkway, going to Eastern Parkway, they're calling that Ocean Hill. But once you pass Eastern Parkway, you actually go down the hill, it's all Brownsville. You understand what I'm saying? Eventually, it's gonna move down there. They're gonna raise property taxes, they're gonna raise the prices of property there. Now, what are you gonna do? You're gonna sit back and say, damn, nah, they can't do that and big. The property values and the rent hasn't risen yet. So you see it happening up here in Ocean Hill / Brownsville. What you can do is you see the times is changing. You start saving, you start educating. Go do what you gotta do. I mean, it's free to get a library card.
I'm sorry. Wait. No, you got. I don't know who you're talking about, but that I'm talking about. They cannot afford to do these things, which is why they can't afford these rent increases.
Can't they afford? That's my question. Why can't you afford?
All right, did you not hear what I said earlier? What's happening back then, surely you guys have to understand that it also affects now. If these people, let's say they're making $35,000, $40,000 a year, they're Caribbean, they're not college educated, they're new here, let's say 20 years, the 80s they came. If their rent is usually $500, $600, $800, let's just say $1,000. And now all of a sudden, before their very eyes, their rent is jumping to $1,800 within 2 years. They cannot afford that. You're telling them that they should invest in property? How are they going to invest in anything if they're not even being able to afford the rent that they have monthly?
For rental properties?
Yeah.
Rent, not buying. We're talking about rent right now.
But typically when you sign a lease, even if it's not rent stabilized, they can't raise it but a certain amount. You think that if that was possible?
No,
that's what the contract is.
No,
It
now
says that they
can.
can.
It says they can, but now they're using that as a threat tactic. I've
Right.
seen that happen.
No, it's a threat tactic, but I'm saying like if you're in an apartment and your lease, you got a new lease. If anybody knows this has happened to somebody, let me know. And their rent is $11.50. The landlord ain't gonna say, okay, for this property I could get in the market now. I can rent this apartment
They can.
for
But
$1,500.
these people don't even have the money to pay the rent that's being raised. So how exactly are they going to be able to put money towards anything else and buy property and fend for themselves?
I ain't gonna lie to you.
It doesn't work like that. You know that. There's no way.
I just want to explain something to you. Right now, I can go and pull up the entire encyclopedia or the almanac, anything right now on my phone. You understand what I'm saying? I just feel that you had like, if there's a will, there's a way. That's just my point.
I see what you're saying, and I understand where y'all are coming from, but you have to understand, like, some of these people, like, example, like, if you're living in Brownsville or you're living in East New York, all you're concerned about right now is working to pay the rent, the lights, the utilities. So, like, yes, there's time, but I don't know about y'all, but if you're fending to pay for the rent and you want to stay in your apartment, it gets crazy. You understand what I'm saying? So, yes, education is a thing, but, like, at the same time, it's like they are things that distract you, and like, yes, you're working, you're trying to live in that property, like there's like a lot of factors that go into it. You know what I'm saying?
Education can't always save you from economics.
That's what I'm saying.
Economics is really just a way of life. And what I mean by that is that you can literally go to school and invest $200,000 into your career. If you don't make that money to pay those loans back and then to also make money for yourself, it's kind of like you kind of did it for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, economics really is a way of life. It's a way of life that you really can't escape. Just how they talk about the circle of life in the Lion King, that's economics. That was like a metaphor right there for the Lion King.
So, you know, there's making away, there's information, etc. But then you have banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, especially Wells Fargo, who was like, yo, let's go to churches, let's go to pastors. So there are people who might have the knowledge and the funds to be like, you know what, I want to own. It's time for me to put down some roots. Black folk, but then they're